Welcome to my channel.
And this is English Podcast Station.
Today we're digging into something familiar, celebrating a birthday party. We've got a whole stack of sources based on a beginner English lesson about this very topic.
Yeah, things like lesson notes, study guides, vocab lists. It's all material aimed at introducing the basics, the language you need for birthdays and parties.
So our mission here is to sift through these sources, figure out what they emphasize, what they see as the core ideas, the essential words, the steps involved. We want to understand how these materials break down a birthday party for someone learning about it.
Exactly. We're sort of reverse engineering the lesson plan to see the structure they present.
It's a shortcut for you, the listener, to grasp not just the party itself, but how it's often taught and described in simple terms.
We'll start with the real basics, like what is a birthday? What's a party? Then unpack the key vocabulary they pull out.
Right. Then walk through the planning steps, what happens on the day itself, the fun stuff like activities.
And even how these sources suggest talking about birthdays that have already happened, past birthdays.
Okay, let's jump in. The absolute basics first. What are the core concepts these sources define?
Well, it all starts with the birthday.
Yeah.
Simple definition. The day you were born.
Okay.
They really stress that it's a special day for everyone and usually celebrated with family, with friends.
Right, that annual personal milestone. And the main way these sources say people celebrate.
That's the party.
Mm-hmm.
It's presented as, well, the common way to celebrate, defined as a fun event. You've got food, music, friends.
The social gathering part.
Exactly. It's the doing something together for the birthday.
So birthday, the day itself, special, party, the fun gathering, often for the birthday, seems straightforward.
Foundational, yeah. But then the sources really dive into the specific words you need.
Yeah.
The vocabulary.
Yeah, yes. And it looks like they group them thematically.
They do. They start with sort of the core physical elements.
Like the main event food-wise. The cake.
Yes, exactly. Described as, sweet food usually has candles on it. It's positioned as pretty
If
central.
they're candles, they get their own entry.
Yeah. Small wax sticks, they mention the fire bit and that they go on the cake. Clearly linked to an action later.
Which we'll get to. Okay, what about what people bring to the party?
That's the gift. Or they also say present.
Interchangeable.
Seems like in these sources, defined really simply as something you give to someone.
Okay, so we have the day, the event, the cake, the candles, the giving things. How about getting people to the event?
Right. They introduce the verb invite to ask someone to come.
Makes sense.
And the person who accepts the invitation and comes, that's a guest.
And keeping track of who you're inviting.
That's the guest list.
Sure.
Literally, a list of names of the people you plan to invite. It shows that planning starts with, well, who?
Okay, got the people sorted. What about the atmosphere, the look and feel?
They cover decorations, things like balloons, lights, stuff to make the party look nice, more festive.
Getting the scene.
Yeah. And the sound.
Music?
Music. Just described as songs you play. Another key sensory part of the party.
Now, they also introduce something maybe a bit more optional. The theme.
They do mention theme. Choosing one is presented as a way to make the party more exciting or fun.
Any examples?
Yeah, like superhero theme, princess theme, beach theme.
Yeah.
It adds that personal touch, and the sources think it's important enough to include.
Definitely adds a layer. Okay, moving on to the actual actions at the party. What do the sources highlight?
Well, there's sing, to make music with your voice.
Crucial for one particular song, I imagine.
You guessed it. And then the action linked to the candles.
Blow out.
Blow out, yeah. Using air, your breath, to stop the fire on the candles. Very specific, that one.
And right after blowing them out.
Comes the wish, something you hope for. The sources point out that the birthday person makes a wish then. It's part of the ritual.
Okay. So beyond that cake moment, what about general eating and drinking?
They list snacks, small foods like chips, cookies, popcorn,
The usual suspects.
pretty much, and just drinks generally. But they also specifically call out pizza.
Interesting, they singled that one out. And dessert, besides the cake.
Ice cream gets a mention. Cold, sweet dessert. Classic combo with cake, right?
True. Now, I saw a picnic listed too. How does that fit in?
Yeah, that's interesting. It's defined as eating outside in a park. So it seems like it's presented either as a type of party setting,
Like you have a birthday picnic instead of a party at home.
maybe, or maybe just an activity at a party if you're near a park. It kind of broadens the scope a bit. Eating outside.
Okay. Now, as things wind down, politeness seems key in these sources.
Very much so. Thank you is highlighted. Polite words to show you're happy or grateful.
Used in specific situations.
Yes, the birthday person says thank you when they get gifts. And also, importantly, thank you for coming to the guests as they leave.
Got it. What about keeping guests entertained? Game is mentioned.
Game, yeah. Defined simply as something fun to play. They even list examples in the materials like musical chairs, pin the tail on the donkey, trivia, stuff like that.
So interactive fun is expected.
Seems so. Dance is also there.
To move your body with music.
Right. Another common activity. And capturing memories.
Picture. Like a photo.
Exactly. Picture means a photo. Taking pictures is listed as a party activity.
And the very end of the party, people leaving.
That's goodbye. What you say when someone leaves.
Standard. But there's one more thing sometimes given out at the end.
Ah, yes. The party favor.
What do the sources say about that?
They define it as a small gift for the guests, sometimes given when they leave.
As a kind of thank you.
Yeah, they frame it as a nice way to say, thank you for coming. Could be a small toy, some candy, something little. It's interesting they consistently include this.
It is. Okay. And there are a couple more terms related to like age and past experiences.
Right. They explain turned, followed by an age, like I turned 10. It means reaching that new age.
Simple enough.
And the word surprised for when something happens you didn't expect.
Like a surprise party?
Exactly. That's often the context. And they also give an example of specific entertainment.
A magician.
Yeah. A person who does magic tricks. It's presented as, an example of entertainment you might have. Shows they cover the basics, but also some optional extras.
Wow. Okay. That's a pretty comprehensive list of words for a beginner lesson. It really covers the event, the people, the stuff, the actions.
It does. It creates a whole vocabulary set around this one event. And logically, the next thing the sources do is arrange some of these into a process, the planning steps.
Okay. How do they break down planning a party? What's step one?
Unsurprisingly, choose a date. Gotta know when it's happening first.
Makes sense. Then what?
Step 2, make a guest list. Remember that vocabulary. Write down the names of the people you want to invite.
Okay. Date, then who? What's next?
Step 3, buy things for the party. This pulls in all that vocab like balloons, decorations, snacks, drinks, and of course the cake, getting the supplies.
Right. The shopping trip.
Pretty much. And step 4,
Letting the guests know.
send invitation cards. They note you can do this by phone, email, or actual paper cards, the act of inviting.
So 4 main steps. Date, list, shop, invite.
Yes. And then they mention that optional step again.
The theme.
Right. You can choose a theme after you've got the basics sorted to make it more exciting.
So a clear, pretty simple plan. Okay, now for the main event. The day itself. How do the sources describe what happens at the party?
Well, first, they mention the birthday person feels special, maybe wears nice clothes, that kind of sets the stage. Then the guests start to arrive.
And what's the first interaction?
Guests say happy birthday. That key phrase right at the start.
Okay, greetings done. Then what's the big moment?
The birthday cake moment. They describe everyone gathering around the cake,
Yeah.
the one with the candles,
And then,
the song. The sources actually include the lyrics for the happy birthday song. They state clearly.
yeah,
Everyone sings it.
classic. After the singing.
The birthday person blows at the candles
Right.
and makes a wish. Those two actions together, the sources present them as the peak of the cake ceremony.
Okay, cake moment done. What follows that?
Gift giving. People give their gifts or presents to the birthday person.
And the birthday person's response.
Again, thank you.
Yeah.
That politeness is specifically tied to receiving the gifts.
Right. So cake, wishes, gifts, thanks. Then it's time for...
Fun and games. The sources say this is when activities happen. Playing games, taking pictures, dancing to music, or even just, enjoying the music.
And all through this, people are...
Eating and drinking. They mention the food again here. Pizza, cake, cookies, ice cream, snacks, drinks. And they bring up picnic again, too. It's that alternative way of eating outside.
Got it. So the party's in full swing. How does it wrap up, according to these sources?
As guests start to leave, they say goodbye.
And the host, the birthday person.
Says thank you for coming. That polite closing.
And maybe.
Maybe the party favor.
Yeah.
They mention it again here at the end. That small gift for guests, sometimes given as they leave. The toy, the candy, a little thank you token.
It really is interesting how consistently that little detail appears.
It suggests the sources see it as a notable part of the ritual, even if it's optional.
So the whole day has a flow. Arrival and greetings, the central cake song wish moment, gifts and thanks, then activities and food, and finally the goodbyes, thanks, and maybe favors. It's quite structured.
It is. It provides a clear narrative for the event.
Yeah.
And then, just briefly, the sources touch on reflecting back, talking about past birthdays.
Right. Did they mention this uses the past tense in English?
Yeah, and they link it back to the vocabulary, like talking about turning a certain age in the past. I turned 10 last year.
Or maybe that feeling of being surprised.
Exactly. They use examples from stories seemingly within the lesson material itself, like a character named James, who had a surprise 10th birthday party.
With the magician.
With the magician, yeah.
Yeah.
Or another character, Erica, who had a picnic birthday.
Yeah.
It shows how you use this language to share those memories.
Okay, so stepping back, this deep dive through these beginner sources really shows a specific way of breaking down a birthday party. Define the basics, give the key words for everything from cake to party favors.
Lay out a simple planning guide. Describe the sequence of events on the day itself.
And even touch on how you talk about it afterwards. It's a neat little package.
It really is. It gives someone learning English the essential building blocks to understand and participate in or talk about this very common celebration. It highlights what the creators of these materials considered fundamental.
And when you look at what they chose to highlight, the cake, the candles, the specific song, the blowing out and wishing, the gifts, the thank yous, the games, even that party favor at the end, it does make you pause. These aren't just random activities. They form a kind of ritual focused on acknowledging someone being generous, having fun together, showing gratitude. So the final thought for you listening is, what is it about this specific combination of traditions, the ones emphasized in these sources, that makes celebrating a birthday feel so special and, well, universal across different ages? It seems to be more than just marking another year, doesn't it?